The day is just waking, and already sleep dust is being shaken from strides. This is not a journey that lasts as long as a dash around the block before work. This goes on for months, many of them, one after the other. It's a challenge for both mind and body, a challenge that forces you to ask one question above all others. Why? The answers lie along 42.2 kilometres. This is the marathon. To finish it is to win it. The Gold Coast, Queensland, one of Australia's most popular tourist destinations for both locals and overseas travellers. But amid the stunning beaches and spectacular skyline, not everyone comes to relax or have a party. The first weekend in July brings more than 25,000 people together for a celebration of running that has become known across the world. This year, visitors have come from 41 countries, many lured by the challenges of the headline act, the Gold Coast Airport Marathon. Of all the runners taking part, none draw more attention than those from East Africa, the Kenyans and Ethiopians. They are the ones to beat. The elite hurry away. For so many others, it's a shuffle, filled with excitement. Then the steps get bigger and the hard work really begins. As expected, the East Africans settle into a lead pack. This is their way. The Kenyans in particular work together. It's hoped the speed will be boosted by the presence of two pacemakers, seen here with the orange and black tops. They've been instructed to run every kilometre at about 3 minutes 4 seconds. The race record is 2 hours 10 minutes 11 seconds, set 22 years ago by Australian Brad Camp. From the very start, the Kenyans show their desire to set a fast speed. Among them, 26-year-old Nicholas Manza, who came second in the Los Angeles Marathon 3 months earlier. He is understated about his hopes. Others with great hopes, Japan's Koji Harada, winner of this year's Senshu Marathon, and Australian veteran, 38-year-old Lee Troop. Lee is hoping to clock under 2 hours 12 minutes, an Australian qualifying time for next year's London Olympics. If he gains selection, he will be in rare company, making it to his 4th Games. In the women's, 24-year-old Ethiopian Goitetem Tasima is alone in front. She is favourite after finishing second at the Rome Marathon in March. She clocked 2 hours, 26 minutes, 21 seconds. A similar time at the Gold Coast Airport Marathon would see her smash the race record by more than 3 minutes. Although middle and long distance running has become the domain of the East Africans, spare a thought for every one of the 5,086 competitors who all have their reasons for challenging themselves. Among the masses is 24-year-old Japanese university student Nubaya Fujiwara. The memories of his country's deadly tsunami that killed about 20,000 people in March are vivid. He worked as a volunteer at an evacuation centre where he met a group of young victims. Now he has travelled to Australia with them and hopes to encourage them through the joys of running. There is a strong sense of community in endurance running. It is something 23-year-old Scott Shepherd is just learning about. Being one in a crowd is a long way from the outback town of Broken Hill, where he works as a high school physical education teacher. In this remote location, he has spent months preparing for the Gold Coast Airport Marathon, his very first marathon. Gold Coast Airport Marathon draws many first-timers, among them local Megan Crockford, and interstate visitors Michael Coburn and his mother-in-law, Marion McAllister. All have their own aims, but they share the common bond of being part of a special family. Lee Troop is still part of the elite brotherhood as the lead pack passes through 15 kilometres in 46 minutes. The Africans appear comfortable. To them, running is second nature. Ethiopia's Goitetem Tassima continues to lead the women. At 15 kilometres, she is nearly 4 minutes ahead of Japan's Chihiro Tanaka and Australians Michelle McAdam and Lisa Hunter-Galvin. By the halfway mark in the men's, the Kenyan presence is overwhelming. Nicholas Manza, Albert Matabor and Japhet Kipkorir are all strong. Their time, 64 minutes 43 seconds. They are just under 2 hour 10 pace. Ito and Noriaki Takahashi are also there. Lee Troop is starting to fall back. For everyone else behind the elite runners, the Gold Coast Airport Marathon goes on. Step after step, kilometre after kilometre. All know the toughest part of the race is still to come. Right from the start of the men's race, the Kenyans have been the ones to beat. Nicholas Manza and Albert Matabor are in a distinguished class. They have both clocked sub 2 hour 10-minute times this year. Approaching the 25-kilometre mark, the Kenyan pair makes a move and earns a 10-second buffer. It is too early to know how decisive this is, but the action immediately puts added pressure on the chasers, including another Kenyan, Japhet Kipkorir, Japan's Taigo Ito, and Ethiopian Alamayu Shumir. But for Japhet, that something will mean lifting the pace, because Manza and Matabor show no signs of slowing. At the same point in the women's, Ethiopia's Goitetem Tassima is a runaway leader with a 7-minute advantage. She signals for her countryman, Wele Welder Georgis, to catch up and help her maintain a strong pace. He does. First-timers Scott Shepherd, a teacher, and Michael Coburn, a financial officer, have trained for this race in vastly different places. Scott from the Outback and Michael from Sydney. Now they have come together, bonded by the journey they know will soon get harder. Behind them, Michael's mother-in-law runs well within herself. As much as anyone in this race, Marion McAllister reflects what running is all about. This is her story. Well away from the Gold Coast's crowded marathon route, a sweep of quiet leads to Cowra in the central tablelands of New South Wales. It's here that long before the sitting of the court, a 53-year-old who knows the laws of the land prefers to be at one with the lay of the land. Marion McAllister has only taken to running in recent years. Now she is hooked. A 3-kilometre circuit on her property is evidence of a hobby that has turned into love. With her dogs Buffhead, Miner and Joker leading the way, Marion beats the sun up 5 mornings a week. And then it's on to work.
Morning, Jess. Morning. How'd you go with that letter?
An office greeting is common enough, but there is a much more unusual side to Marion's job. Marion, who practices under her maiden name, has been a solicitor for more than 25 years. Her journey to this point filled with the broad experiences of life. Many a marathon runner will tell you the race doesn't begin until the 30-kilometre mark. For the elite, it's the time the race can be won or lost. The pacemakers have finished their job, leaving Nicholas Manzer and Albert Matabor holding a 25-second lead over Japhet Kipkorir, Alamea Shumir and Taigo Ito. It's almost certain the winner will come from this quintet. The leaders are still on race record pace, and the mind games have begun. For Australia's main hope, Triple Olympian Lee Troop, the chance of victory is gone. He is 2.5 minutes back in 8th spot. He fights on, a competitor renowned for challenging adversity. In the women's, only a disaster will stop Goitetem Tassima from winning. After 30 kilometres, she is 9 minutes ahead of Lisa Hunter-Galvin, who is under pressure from fellow Australian Roxy Fraser. The East Africans first rose to long-distance running prominence when barefooted Ethiopian Abibi Bikila won the 1960 Rome Olympics marathon. Half a century later, those from his part of the world continue to uphold a formidable reputation. At the 2011 Gold Coast Airport Marathon, it will be the turn of a Kenyan to win. But which one? Manzer and Albert Matabor go stride for stride past the 35-kilometre mark, but soon afterwards, two at the front becomes one. Manzer moves away. He is heading for home, lured by a world-famous setting that today will be one forged into a winner's memory. Like so many of his peers, Nicholas took up running after he finished school to support his family. His dream is a humble one. Married, this father of a young boy is within sight of a winner's check, $11,000 US. There is also the chance of a much bigger prize, $27,000 if he breaks 2 hours, 10 minutes. It is going to be close. The knowledge Matabor is still within reach and pushing hard helps drive him on. With a few hundred metres remaining, victory will go to Nicholas Manzer. As he nears the finisher's chute, it is now a race against the clock. The seconds tick by, And Nicholas lifts for one last effort, swept on by the crowd. Second. The bonus may have slipped past by the cruelest of margins, but there is a surprise. In a goodwill gesture, organisers decide to add another $11,000 to his winnings for breaking the race record. Matterhall finishes just 12 seconds behind. The fast-finishing Jaffet Kip-Career is a further 37 seconds back.
This young man will do under 2:11 as well.
Japan's Taigo Ito and Noriaki Takahashi round out the top five. Lee Troop is sixth in 2 hours, 15 minutes, 45. He has missed the qualifying time for the London Olympics. It's a great day for Kenya. The winning time, the third fastest ever on Australian soil. A good performance by the Japanese, and Lee Troop is not disheartened, knowing he has other chances to book his spot to the London Olympics. There is no surprise in the women's. Ethiopia's Goitetem Tessima blitzes her rivals in 2 hours, 30 minutes, 8 seconds. The second fastest time in the 33-year history of the Gold Coast Airport Marathon. 2 years ago, Australia's Roxy Fraser finished second at the Gold Coast with a personal best time. History repeats itself in 2011. And Chihiro Tanaka is third. But all the talk is about 24-year-old Goitetem Tessima, winning by more than 11 minutes and continuing a successful year that included coming second in the Rome Marathon. After Fraser and Tanaka, Australians fill all other spots in the top 8. For so many others, the race goes on and on. The last few kilometres of a marathon can be so cruel. The finish line is close, yet it seems impossibly far. For first-timers, Michael Coburn, Marion McAllister.
Sounds like a long way. The way I'm feeling.
Don't be stupid.
Megan Crockford.
Starting to hurt.
And Scott Shepherd, who has begun counting every single step. This may be a trying and at times painful experience, but it is an unforgettable one. Michael finishes in a better time than he'd hoped. Scott crosses the line 15 minutes later, the pain of his ordeal all too evident as he is taken away for treatment for dizziness and sore legs. Marion finishes with a smile in 4 hours 17 minutes. And Megan is 9 minutes further back. The beauties of marathon running is that no matter whether you are an elite runner or an everyday one trying to scale your personal Mount Everest, you all travel the same distance on the same course. It brings you together into a special family. And the memories you take away are ones to cherish. The Gold Coast Airport Marathon has been run and won for another year. 2012 is waiting.